Hello. My name's Kenny. I figured it would be fitting to at least start with the booktube newbie tag. I will not lie, I have been putting this off my entire off day, but we're doing it, we're making it happen. I don't know, I'm feeling a little shy about this. I already have the book talk, but something about the horizontal that feels more formal. Also, I have to look over here at the lens if I want to feel like I'm talking to you guys. Let's go ahead and get into the dang thing. First question is, why are you starting this channel? If I'm being completely honest, couldn't tell ya. Part of it is I like having way too many hobbies, so I have zero free time. I also, I don't know, I feel like ever since I was a kid, I wanted to have my own little corner of the YouTube space. I do stream on Twitch, so I have that corner of the internet down, but I haven't really explored YouTube very much, and I've loved book talk. I definitely have some feelings about TikTok after the past few months. And also if that goes away, I feel like I'd like to keep talking about books, so I guess that's mainly why I'm starting this itty bitty spot in the universe of the interweb. My cat's about to try and eat my lights. Please no. Yeah, stop. Just stop. Second question is, what fun and unique things do I think I could bring to the booktube space? One of the big ones is obviously I'm a big fan of manga, which I feel like is missed a lot in booktube. There's definitely manga YouTubers out there who will only talk about it, but I feel like I can be like this bridge in between talking about the fantasy and the sci-fi and the normal books, and then also have the manga side. I love manga. It's one of the things that really got me into reading as a kid. So I feel like that's one unique thing. I also would really like to combine my love for knitting with reading. So if I could just sit and knit while talking about books, while also showing you guys what projects I'm working on, I think that could be fun and unique, but y'all let me know. What am I most excited about is the next question. And honestly, I think it's interacting with people in a different way on the internet. I was talking to my friend about this, and I feel like I'm pretty extroverted in person, but I'm really shy on the internet. Like I mentioned, I do stream on Twitch, but I'm always really shy to ask to collab or interact a whole lot with other people. So I feel like booktube is kind of gonna push me a little bit outside of that comfort zone, make me want to interact with people more. I also am really excited to just do more in-depth reviews and talking about books and vlogging, because that's not something I got super into on my book talk. I never did very many long review videos, and so I am really excited to do that. I feel like something about YouTube is encouraging those longer format, more chitty chatty type videos. So that excites me. The big old question of why do I love reading? Gosh, all the reasons. I feel like growing up in the early 2000s when sort of technology became as big as it did, reading kind of almost sends me back to my roots from the pre-technology and the palm of our hands 24/7 age. And it really helps me unplug and just be more present with where I'm at, but also lets me explore worlds that don't exist or different places in the world that I haven't personally interacted with. I love reading translated literature, and so that's kind of one of my favorite things, is learning about different cultures through reading. But I don't know, it definitely helps most of the time bring my nervous system down and calm. There are obviously some crazy books that'll shoot it up higher, but most of the time it helps me ease out of the chaos of the real world while still being aware of what's going on, but just not focusing on it as much and just letting me take a little pause. So I appreciate that. I'm switching questions 5 and 6. I don't know if this is the actual order, but just when did I start reading? And it's interesting because as a kid, I wasn't the biggest reader, like pre-middle school. I really needed glasses, and I had a speech impediment sort of thing where I couldn't tell the difference between vowels, so they all looked and sounded the same to me. So I really struggled with reading. My dad thought I was just dyslexic because his brother is, so it runs in the family, blah, blah, blah. Extra backstory, sorry. And he had asked me one day, he's like, do the words like mix up on the page? And I was like, no, they're just all blurry. And he's like, oh, you need glasses. So once I was able to see better, that helped a lot, and my reading level shot through the roof, and I've just been reading ever since. There was definitely a big lull when I was in college and high school. I went to a kind of crazy high school. I was very busy. And in college, I was an art history major, so it was very reading heavy, and so I just didn't really give myself that much time to read for pleasure until I was like a junior, almost senior in college, and I haven't stopped since. So going into the question of what series got me into reading, easy peasy, either Warrior Cats, if we're talking really young Kenny, or the Beautiful Creatures series when I was in middle school. I was a big Beautiful Creatures girl. Obviously, I loved The Hunger Games. I loved Divergent. I was the perfect age for when those books were being released. I'm so grateful for that. I went to all the midnight premieres when those were still a thing, and I loved them, but Beautiful Creatures, that was my shit. I felt like none of my friends in middle school were reading Beautiful Creatures, and it was like this little secret obsession I had. And they were also the biggest books I was reading at the time, because I don't have a copy anymore, which I kind of want to get a new one. But the first one, she's a chunk. I'll have to double check what the page count is, but it definitely felt bigger than other books I had been reading at the time, so that also made me feel kind of cool. But yeah, those are definitely the classics that got me into it. Going into what questions I would ask my favorite booktubers, I am honestly really curious about how everyone kind of found their personal styles of editing and filming and how they like their videos to look. That's always really interesting to me because I feel like booktubers specifically all have really specific aesthetics for their channels, and I love that. And then of course, why did you start? We answer that in our booktube newbie videos, but that wasn't always a thing, so I'm curious, like, why did everyone start doing what we're doing? So question 8 is, what challenges do I think will be the hardest for me to overcome? Definitely finding the time. When it comes to work and stuff I like have to do and deadlines, I'm incredible at time management. When it comes to things that I just love to do and hobbies, they fall off a cliff so quickly. So just making sure that I leave time for this and for editing and for uploading and interacting with people in this booktube space, that's going to be a big thing for me, especially because I am trying to stream at the same time on the gaming side of things. So just kind of juggling the two is going to be big for me. But I'm kind of at a point, because a lot of people, let me take a step back. I never want content creation, whether it's streaming, whether it's book talk, whether it's booktube, I have never wanted it to become a full-time job, and I don't want to treat it as such, but I do think if I kind of set it on my schedule as if it were a job, I'll have more success. We'll see how that goes. But I just want this to be a fun hobby. I want this to be a place for me to take a breath, talk about books, share some common interests with people, maybe engage in some really interesting discussions. Yeah. So I think that'll be my biggest challenge. Also, I spent all day refusing to take this video because I was feeling so shy and anxious about it. So just actually sitting down and doing it, getting in the habit of just getting on it, that's going to be a bit of a challenge for me because I get really in my head and anxious. So yeah. Question number 9, where do I read? Everywhere and anywhere. The most common spots are definitely on my couch. I have a couch in here that you just can't see. It's out of frame. I'm in my office right now. I don't read there as much as I'd like to. I feel like this room is more cozy than my living room. I read a lot in my car because I will sometimes sit in there on my lunch break because the office at my job can be a little bit loud. I like to sit at bars and read a lot, which is fun. If there's a good patio, I will camp for a few hours and just read my little heart out. But yeah, I don't know. I recently moved to Denver from Austin, and I had a lot of my favorite little spots I would go and sit and read in the same exact chair in the same spot in Austin. So I'm trying to find those in Denver since it is a new city for me. So if there are any fellow book lovers in Denver that have good reading spot recommendations, do let me know. And then the last question is, what kind of books do you like? If you haven't been staring at my bookshelf behind me, there's a bit of a variety. I definitely feel like fantasy is what got me back into the groove of reading, and so that has such a special place in my heart, and I adore fantasy. I definitely started in a more romantic-y place, but I have come to a point where I think I prefer high fantasy. I've also gotten into sci-fi more the past few years. I always felt intimidated by sci-fi, but now I really, really love it. Obviously, manga. I mentioned translated literature earlier. The past 6 months, I've gotten more into horror books, which I didn't think I was gonna love as much as I do. Body horror, love it. Ghosts and ghouls, eh. I feel like it doesn't come across as well in book format as more psychological horror. Um, but yeah, those are my favorites. I love a good dark academia. This is my copy of The Secret History. She's my baby. I've read it through 3 times, and I will probably read it again because there is a Denver book club reading in a few months. But honestly, I'm gonna try anything at least twice when it comes to genre. I don't really ever read nonfiction. I will read maybe 1 or 2 nonfiction books a year, which I do want to change. I don't know. I have a harder time finding ones that I love. But yeah, send me your favorites and I will give them a shot. That's about it for the first video, I guess. I'm really excited to embark on this journey. I was really anxious and antsy to make this video, but I feel like once I started talking about books and things surrounding books, it just made me really excited. So I am excited to see what kind of content and videos come out of this channel. If you guys have any more questions about me, just let me know, but I hope to see you around and engage with you in this bookish space.